Well, good morning, everyone. Grace and peace. Welcome to Find the Intersection. My name is Paul Dezay. It's good to be with you on this Thursday. It is our Psalm day of the week. Psalm 23, familiar, right? 23rd Psalm. We're going to talk about that today. And I just want to kind of let you know where we've been this week. And there is our chart for the week. This is what we've been doing. If you're new to Intersections, this is the way we read the Bible. We're preparing our hearts for Sunday. This Sunday will be the fourth Sunday of the Easter season. Easter season is between Easter Sunday and Pentecost. It's this 50-day journey of remembering that Jesus is still alive. He is risen, right? And so this particular week leads up to this fourth Sunday of Easter, and it's the Good Shepherd Sunday. And it's always the fourth Sunday of the Easter season every year where we really talk about Jesus being the Good Shepherd. And so that is the theme through this week. And so typically we don't really know the theme going into it, so we have to kind of discover it. It's kind of backwards. We know the theme, and so now we're reading into these passages this theme, and we're able to see the connections even in a greater way. Now, tomorrow we'll be back to talk about the intersections between these four passages, but today we're in the bottom right-hand corner, 23rd Psalm. The questions that are on the bottom of the chart, you can see them there. What does this passage say about God? What does this passage say about humanity? Are really great questions to ask the text. And if you're not sure what to write in those boxes, asking those questions are always good. Now, what I do is I typically just read through the passage, and the things that jump out to me, I jot down. And one of the things that when you're doing a familiar passage like the 23rd Psalm, certain things that maybe you've read a million times, you'll see something a little bit different. And what I see and what you see may be completely different. And that's good. And we're supposed to learn from each other. That's the way we study scriptures, to do it in community. So 23rd Psalm, it's a Psalm of David, right? This is not a Psalm just for funerals and death, even though that's when we hear it most often. It's a psalm for the ordinariness of life, right? The everyday, and in crisis when we go through the valley of the shadow of death. But it's really meant for the everyday. And David, who wrote it, was a shepherd. So he understood the role of the shepherd, and he understood the role of the sheep and that relationship between the two. But he also understood the role of God as the shepherd, like capital S, right? So let's go through here, and I'll share a few things that jumped out to me. The first is that this idea of shepherd in the Hebrew culture didn't just mean somebody who took care of sheep. It also was a metaphor for a king or ruler. And so this psalm has political overtones, that the Lord is our true ruler, or the Lord is our true king. And I think it's important because in a world of competing kings and kingdoms where everyone's playing the Game of Thrones, right? We have to understand that Jesus is our true king. He's our true ruler. And because the psalm is about provision and protection, this king will provide for us and protect us. And I think we need to know that in our world of competing kingdoms. Um, Another thing I wrote down is, I shall not want. And what does that mean in a world of entitlement, right? Where everyone feels entitled to everything. What does it mean to not want? And what exactly are we not wanting? And I wonder today in 2021 what the Lord is trying to help us see in this passage of things that we really don't want. I mean, really, ultimately, everything that we need, God provides. And we don't need anything beyond what He provides. And a lot of times, our wants drive us to competing kingdoms and competing shepherds, right? And so today I have to wrestle with that question. What is it that I don't want? Um, Ultimately, it's a psalm of trust, right? He leads me beside quiet waters. I put a background today of quiet waters. I wish I was there right now. I wish we were all there to be able to just rest in God. And He is giving us this opportunity to trust in Him, that He will lead us to these places that we ultimately need. He will give us what we need. He will give us what we need to overflowing. And then I wrote down, he leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. I wrote down movement, that he is moving us, leading us. This journey is a journey that requires movement. We're not in the same place. Just like a shepherd guides the sheep to different places to graze, we are in constant movement where we're following in the footsteps of Jesus, our good shepherd. The table before me in the presence of my enemies. I have this, I'm such a geek, right? So if you've watched Star Wars, there's this scene in episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. By the way, it's my favorite Star Wars movie, of the crew coming into the Cloud City of Lando Calrissian's Cloud City. And they go into a room, and Darth Vader is there waiting for them to share a meal. I find that interesting. We are in the presence, he prepares a table before us in the presence of our enemies. So, this idea that, as we talked on Sunday, this past Sunday, about the table being a place of healing, the table being a place of connection and blessing and brokenness and givenness, is we find what we're looking for in a healing way around the table. And when we eat with our enemies, we realize that they are also created in the image of God, and we're kind of in this together. So when you share a meal with your enemies, you usually, when you get up from the table, they're no longer enemies. They're fellow human beings, fellow people on the journey. And the last thing I wrote down was, surely goodness will follow me all the days of my life. And this idea of hesed, this Hebrew idea of faithful love, loving kindness, that God shows us. He's faithful. And so this love and faith will follow us. It's almost like it's pursuing us, right? This love, it never gives up on us. Love never fails. And it's this faithful, committed, loyal love that God shows us. Yeah, so that's what I got out of Psalm 23 today. And if I read it tomorrow, I might get something completely different out of it, right? Because that's the way the Holy Spirit brings these words, these ancient words, to life in our minds and our hearts, and we share with one another. So if you would share with someone what you got out of the passages, you can comment on these posts and let me know what you got out of the passage. I always appreciate reading your thoughts and insights. So we'll be back tomorrow to put it all together for Find the Intersection. Hey, grace and peace, everyone. Take care.